Hello again, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome back down the basement. I found a little time this weekend, so even though I'm going to release this, I think probably around Wednesday, I did shoot this on the weekend. I want to talk a little bourbon. I've had this Jim Beam Black, the extra aged but still pretty basic profile, on the shelf for a while. It's time I talk to you about it. So when we get back, I'll give you my thoughts on Jim Beam Black extra aged.
3, 4.
Thanks for staying with me. Hey, before we get going, I should give a shout out to Al, Big Al from Whiskey Straight online. I think it was his review of Jim Beam Black that made me think, why haven't I had that? I've seen it on shelves. Price is great in my neighborhood. I think I paid 25 bucks Canadian for this, which is a great price for bourbon. Anyways, Al, you liked it? So I grabbed a bottle. I don't know enough about Jim Beam Black. I don't think any of us really know extra aged. I feel like, they make so much bourbon that they can actually age even their low stuff longer. I don't know if that's true, but I feel, their regular is going to be between 4 and 6 now. I used to think it was 5 and 8, but now I think it's probably 4 and 6. So this is probably 5 and 8, somewhere in there. Nah, it's a complete guess. I have no idea. But as they're aging longer, they're putting other stuff in their other line. Like I like a lot of Jim Beam line, I must say. Like Knob Creek is a favorite, and it's priced right in my neighborhood too. But it is a little more. So the question here is, does this Jim Beam Black, I think it's 43%, 86 proof. Does it give me enough to avoid purchasing Knob Creek, something like that, right? So let's see what we get. Hopefully you have a little bourbon. Even better if you have something from Jim Beam. See what we get. Fairly classic bourbon nose. In this case, that's sweet, but right away, for me, there's a little bit of spice creeping up on the sides and some oak. Definite oak on the nose. Let's try the palate. Cheers. That doesn't go far from classic Jim Beam profile. I'm getting a little sweetness, but in here, very quick oak. Almost a hint, maybe because I've been drinking a fair amount of Canadian whiskey lately, like a hint of smoke char, which is interesting. Because when I really think of smoke and whiskey, I'm going over the pond, I'm going to Islay Scotch. But in this case, in contrast to that really sweet Canadian, I'm getting that barrel char. So oak, little char. Maybe because I haven't been having a lot of it currently, I don't get a lot of peanut right up front, like I've been getting in Old Tub. Oh, that's peanut brittle. Even the white label gave me a little more than I'm getting on this. This really plays into a char oak, still some corn sweetness. Oh, mash bill in Jim Beam. Well, likely this is, it's going to be 13% rye and about 10% barley, I think. So the balance would be in corn. 77. That's a pretty good bourbon. It's not an exceptional bourbon. Very easy drinking. 43% or 86 proof. It goes down quite well. A lot of oak to play around in. Palate kind of leaves me with that. There's a little bit of bitterness here. Now, sometimes I actually don't mind bitterness. In the right context, it's part of what we're going for. In this case, I'm missing any kind of real juicy fruit or stronger, brighter spices like some cinnamons. I get that in Knob Creek. I get a little more cherry and a little more cinnamons. So I like it. But, it doesn't excite me. I like the price, I have to say. The price is good, and it's easy for me to go to if I'm just looking for a little sip of bourbon, but it's a little bit less exciting than I wanted it to be. In fact, it hardly gets up off the floor from white label for me, and I know that's That's saying a lot. This is 3.25. Let's put it there. Maybe 3.5 because of the oak. I do think it has a stronger oak profile, and I like oak. And if you're going for a little more oak and you like the general Jim Beam profile, it is a step up from White Label. I'll take back that and say it's a step up. So we'll go 3.5. Thanks. Clear my palate. I'm going to compare it to another entrance bourbon I had on the shelf. Okay. If you're new to whiskey, you're new to this. If not, you're really not. Wild Turkey 101 is almost one of the universals of whiskey in the sense that you go to just about any YouTube channel, and I think at some point someone's going to go, you got to get a bottle of Wild Turkey 101. And the reason is I get it for about the same price around here. It generally on the shelf a little more, but really affordable. This is 101 or 50.5% alcohol. No age stamp on this either. Maybe it's similar age because I've heard that they mix 6 and 8-year-olds to get this. Of note, of course, is the strength. It's stronger. And that Wild Turkey, quite famous for using a number 4 barrel char, right? So that is a heavy alligator char in their barrels. Let's see in this sitting how it fares. Less oak forward, more spice forward, a little more cinnamon. In this nose, it's a little more muted. Interesting. Yep. Now I'm getting a little more classic Jim Beam, slight nut in there. More nut, the more I nose it. Yeah, this is interesting. To me, it's funny how there's a little less oak on the nose, a little less barrel, a little more spice. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. I have really come around to Wild Turkey. I've always enjoyed it, but there was a sourness to it. There is a sourness to it that to me, a little soured cherry, a little soured fruit, that for really the longest time kept me from loving it. Now I look for it and welcome it. Very interesting. It's like I meant the comment, like sometimes bitterness is okay. In this case, I'm not loving it here, but in this case, now the interplay of a little bit of soured cherry, cinnamons, definite oak in the palate, a little cleaner in the finish. Actually, it leaves me with a little cherry in the finish. It's interesting. I haven't got a lot of cherry in my notes with Wild Turkey. But this is just a really good experience. That's where I am. So, it's better than the black. In my opinion, it's always one guy's opinion. It's just my taste buds. And my palate changes with time. I will admit that. In this sitting, could be the stronger alcohol, but I really like a little more flavor going on here, a little more spicing, even more distinguishable fruits in the Wild Turkey. And as I said, it's pretty much the same price. Now, having said that, the black is a decent pour. Goes on offer, goes on sale. I think, it's still a nice bourbon profile, lots of oak going on there. It's worth considering. But in this case, this is 3.5, 3.75. It's hard to give Wild Turkey 101 a 4-star, but maybe it's a 4-star. It's just good bourbon. Not that black is bad. Thanks for joining me. Hope you guys are having a good week. As I said, I shot this on the weekend, but I'm going to kick it out midweek instead of releasing a bunch of videos at one time. But do hope you guys are having a really good week. Here in Alberta, I'm hoping we're thawing out because right now on the weekend, boy, it is cold. Which brings me to this thought. If you're in Canada, came across my social feed and I absolutely clicked donate. And I'm thinking of groups like Hope Mission in Edmonton. I know there are groups in every major city across Canada. Homelessness is a problem that, of course, will take more than a click donate to solve. But in the immediacy, I think of all the challenges with getting any place with COVID, and then I imagine being, minus 30, 35, 40 at night and not having a warm place to stay. That's just wrong. So as Canadians, if you're in Canada, I just encourage you to look for whatever that local organization in Edmonton. I'm quite confident that Hope Mission is a good place. But look for those places that are driving out there and finding the people that are on the street and getting them someplace warm, because no one should be outside in this weather. Guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great week.